So I'm Madhu Kuna. I'm Senior Director. I manage warranty and SKD for PTC. It's my 15th year in the service lifecycle domain. So today, first of all, thanks for taking time to join this call. So we are going to discuss more on the warranty modules today. As you all know, iWarranty is a warranty lifecycle management solution, and it helps significantly to reduce the warranty costs and by improving the product quality, reliability, sharing cost and information with your suppliers as well as partners, and also it helps you to automate the warranty management process. And iWarranty solution supports warranty needs of companies with multiple brands globally. As I mentioned earlier, it connects manufacturers, distributors, service centers, as well as suppliers. With iWarranty, you can streamline the process, streamline the warranty process, and increase the supply recovery as well as collaboration. And you can also improve product quality through a robust analytical capabilities as well. So the main goal of this solution is to reduce the warranty cost per unit by benefiting from early warning signs and by expediting the resolution of the product as well as service quality issues. So it gives you a competitive edge by reducing time and cost to adapt your business changes. So in addition to warranty, basically we also have service event management solution and product support and self-service solutions, and we do have iParts that deals with the parts order management. So I'm going to walk through a typical service lifecycle scenario on this slide basically. So let's assume that you are planning to buy a product. So first step is you do your own research, and then you go to dealership or distributor to buy the product, okay, or any kind of brick and mortar store, or you can also place an order for on the online portals as well. So once you bought the product, so the first step, assume that you are buying a car or any kind of equipment in the dealership. So as soon as you bought the product, the first step dealer is going to do is the pre-delivery inspection. Like before they hand it over keys to you, they're going to do the PDI, pre-delivery inspection, and also in some cases they're also provide the operating instructions as well if it is a machinery or any kind of equipment. And the next thing they are going to do is within that PDI process, if they found any kind of issues, they're going to fix that problems and file a PDI claim as well. And the next step is the product registration. Like, that's when the dealer is going to marry the product that you bought to your name. That's when the warranty is going to kick in. The warranty start date is going to kick in at that point of time. And at the same time, a dealer is going to offer service contracts or extended warranties. So that is to provide more warranty on top of what you were getting on the standard warranty. So that costs you more, but it will give you peace of mind for 5 to 8 years, depends on the offering from the manufacturer, or in some cases dealers or distributors as well. And all those permutations like like coverage and pricing and all that kind of stuff, that system is going to be published, and then dealers can use those pricing as well. Now you walk away with the product and you started using it, and you got a problem with the product. So the first step you're going to do is you are going to give a call to call center, or you can go through the owner's manual or operator's manual, whatever that is, going through troubleshooting. And if you are not able to figure it out on your own, at that point of time, you give a call to call center and have report the problem. The call center agent is going to look into the resolutions in the knowledge management solution, and if anything found, then they're going to communicate same to you, and you are going to fix on your own. If you are not able to fix on your own, the call center agent is going to do the dispatch. So the dispatch is going to be the nearest service center, dispatch to the nearest service center. So the main difference between the field service management and our thing is, in our case, owner has to take the equipment to the dealership or distributor. 95% of the cases, that's the thing. Whereas only 5% of the cases, technician has to travel to the location where that equipment being failed and then do the repair as well. And the next thing is, once that ticket has been dispatched, so it goes to the service center or the dealership, and that's where the service manager is going to do the service initiation. Basically, service initiation means whether we have the technician available for the time we committed to the customer, whether we have the parts available on the floor, and all sorts of tools that are required to fix that problem. So he is going to make sure that all those things as part of the service initiation. Now, during that service initiation process, if a service manager found that there are no parts available, then they are going to place a parts order in our system. And once they got the parts back from OEM or distribution center, then they are going to fix that problem and then close that service order. So at that point of time, the service order, once after being closed, our system is smart enough to identify what portion of the failure covered by warranty and what portion of failure is not covered by warranty. So for the failure that is covered under warranty, system is going to extract that portion and then create a claim within the iWarranty system. So all these 5 steps are optional. Most of the customers, they assume, they may be relying on the other third-party solutions like for parts ordering and ticketing, as well as service dispatch and work order management. So all these are integrated modules. So, it is going to share the common data. So if you have a business partner, if you have a parts, all that information are going to be shared across all these modules. So the first thing is iSupport, okay, that is called technical and customer support management. That's about customer support and service dispatch. And the next one is iService, service dispatches as well as work order management. This one is iParts. And starting from here, it is the core iWarranty. So at this point of time, once system generates the claim, it's going to validate all the data and auto-approve the claim. And you can also directly come to the system and create the claim manually, or you can also use CSV or XML or web services to create the claim. You can also use claim templates to create the claim as well. So after submission of the claim, system is going to auto process all those claims, and with all the business rules configuration within our system, you can automate up to 90 to 95% of the claims without manual review. And also you can also define the workflow management as well. Like, let's say if you would like to review each claim that is above 500, it has to go through certain processes. You can also define all those things using the workflow management. So as soon as claim is being adjudicated, we are going to send that financial transaction to your accounting system or ERP, where the actual payment is going to be happen. Now, as soon as you post the payment to the dealer account, we're going to get the payment confirmation number as well as payment date back from SAP or any other ERP system, and we're going to display it on the claim. And at that point of time, claim is being paid. And during the claim review process, if you feel that there is a need for the part return, then you can also request part return from the dealer or distributor or any other service center. Once you got the part back from dealer or distributor, you can do the inspection as well. That's the part inspection. So you can automate this process. Whenever dealer or distributor or service center submits a claim, you can flag that parts to be written even prior reviewing the claim. So that you can do, or you can also do ad hoc basis. So whenever you are reviewing the claim, while reviewing the claim, you can also flag that part to be written. So the system is going to generate the RMA. So once the claim is being approved, and our system is going to find supplier of the component, like, so when you do the claim, the basis of the claim is the causal part. So that's the one that causes the failure. In some cases, they call it as a primary failed part. Okay, so based off of that, we are going to find who is the responsible supplier of that particular part and generate the supply claim in the system. And you are going to send the supplier claim to the respective supplier. You can also do the packaging. Instead of sending one by one, you can group multiple claims that goes to a supplier and send it in one shot. And once that claim package has been adjudicated, then you are going to get the payment from the supplier, and then you can allocate that payment to either package level or at the claim level as well. And last but not least, we do have service intelligence. This is the analytics reporting for iWarranty. So this is powered by Cosmos, and we use our own data warehouse to to do the modeling, and where you can do the reporting analysis as well as data mining. So in summary, so it helps you, you can deploy one or more of these solutions, and it is in the same artifacts. Basically, you can enable or disable those modules at any time, provided you have the license. So all these solutions are integrated. You don't have to enter the data multiple times. You don't have to load the data multiple times. So all these are integrated well to handle entire life cycle scenario. So that's about the beauty of the system. And OEM, basically, they end up with having multiple disconnected support systems and service as well as warranty. So the product information is split into these silos, and consolidated view is not possible to make informed decision on product quality and performance in the field. So iWarranty has a central service hub or repository that houses all the product information on every support, service, as well as claim, any event that happened on that particular product. So the way we do the connected service process, basically, you start with the ticket, provided the registration record exists in the system, and then it goes to the iService. That's where you are going to create the service order, and then it goes to the warranty, that goes to the warranty claim, and also at the end you are going to have the recovery claim. Now, if you have a complex product, in the sense, if you have bill of material that contains 50 to 60K parts. So you can also have as maintained product configuration. So when you manufacture the product, that is called MBOM. And the MBOM may change over a period of time due to various service events. So that service events can be captured, and then you can maintain the major component changes along with the serial numbers within the service history as well as maintained product configuration. Or you can also call this as the as maintained bill of material. At any given time, you would like to see the product configuration, you can go and check what is a product configuration by using Product Hub within our system. And so here is another way of representing all our modules. On the left-hand side, e-claim, spot return, supply recovery, service contracts. These are all core iWarranty modules. On the right-hand side, you are seeing customer support, that we call it as iSupport, and service orders, that is for service event management, that is called iService, iParts, that is parts ordering, and also the analytics, that is service intelligence, that is powered by Cognos. So these are all various modules that solves all your service business needs. And again, as I mentioned earlier, these are all very well integrated to handle your entire life cycle scenario. With that, I'm going to pass my control to John Simpson, who is our product manager. He's going to walk through, demo the system and see how we are handling within the system as well. So John, you can take the control.
Okay, thank you, Madhu. Just take it here. Okay, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. So my name is John Simpson. I've been in the kind of warranty contract service area for around about 13 years, for about longer than actually 13 years, and I've been at PTC for longer than I can count. I can't remember, but it's a long time. But predominantly my area has been in the warranty contract and service area or management area. So what you're seeing at the moment is you're seeing the landing page. So bear in mind the document or the diagram that Madhu showed in terms of the different modules. Depending on who you are and what profile you have, if you've got access to this, you will see different things. What you're seeing now is you're seeing the main landing page. I'm signed as an administrator, so therefore I'm seeing quite a lot more than what a normal dealer or would see, or a call center. Predominantly, they would have their own kind of documents that they would track and review and progress onto the next stage. What you see here is the main landing page. Now you do have kind of a lot of configuration here, a lot of menu options. So as you go through the menu options up here, depending on what authority you have as a user, depends on what you see up here. So some of it could be quite restrictive. As we go down below, you've got your kind of title page and your action bars. These are static as you go through the pages. As you kind of go further down, what you'll see is you'll see these interactive graphs. These interactive graphs reflect whatever you work your assignments at. So these work your assignments is what the user has on their daily queue. So as documents come out and go, come in and go out again, these stats and figures will actually kind of change throughout the day as real time. Okay, so it's actual as it happens. So if I was to approve something, or if I was to kind of move on to the next level, these stats would change continuously. Okay, these are interactive graphs. What you see is you see different areas. So as I kind of go up and down, the first area is the support ticket, and this is the call. This is the call from the user to say, hey, I've got a problem. Okay, so in this particular problem, you see there's lots of different statuses, and kind of one's at pending, one's at approved, one's at draft, so different statuses for these particular documents. Now, bear in mind, as Madhu mentioned, there is a product registration process here. So everything that you have would basically have your serial number, it would have your assigned model, it would have when that user purchased that particular product. It'd also have their registration. Within their registration is containing their coverage. So what coverage are entitled to. So in other words, it could be the product that they bought potentially could have a 3-year, could have a 12-month warranty assigned to it, could be unlimited. There could be some restriction. That warranty depends on your configuration and how you set up your coverages and policies. Okay. So as we kind of come in here, this is the first thing you're going to see. So as the call comes in, I'm a call center user. What I would do is I would click on new, and to save a little bit of time, I have actually created one up front. So instead of having to create and enter all the data information into the screen, what you'll see here is that there's a dealer. So bear in mind, as a dealer, I can actually take or submit a question, or I can have a phone call, which basically says, I've got this problem. So it could be one of your dealerships has a question on warranty, sales, product, or it could be you've had the call from the owner direct. In this instance, what I've done is I've specified as a dealer, PTC dealer, and in this particular kind of information, I have the serial number. Now, the serial number is basically said, okay, I've got a problem. It's basically been running for 130 hours. If there's an odometer reading on your product, if your system holds those or units have this, this first screen predominantly contains what the actual unit is, what the coverage is that you're going to pick. Obviously, you don't know offhand until you get the serial number. the full serial number of the product, and who's actually raised this particular information, or who's actually raised this particular request or support request. As I kind of enter the information into the system, I'll go through the tabs. Like, for example, it gives me the products, it gives me additional product information. If I navigate to the customer, I can see the customer information, so who the actual unit is registered to, in effect. I can actually then see what the problem is, or record what the problem is. Like, for example, when was the problem detected? When did it occur? What is the actual problem that the customer is having? In other words, in this instance, it's got no power. In this instance, I can put some additional information. So if you want to add all this, add some more information to here, you can as kind of free text. And these problem codes are basically what we call the complaint course corrective options. So these can be kind of adapted to your organization, whatever codes you want to see, whatever codes you want to have. They're also relational. So for example, if you do have something like a motor, that motor may or may not leak, right? It depends what components in there. So you can configure the system to basically say, whatever the causal part is that caused the problem, this information may not, this is the actual problem that has been reported. Now, in this particular case, it may well be that if it's an owner, they may not know that at this point. So therefore, at the moment, it's just a problem code that's being reported, say there's no power, it's dead. Okay, to the right-hand side, I've got some kind of tables information here, which gives the internal user the ability to see what kind of, how many have got the same kind of problem code, how many have got, how many tickets are outstanding or are in progress or have been actioned for that particular serial number. And I can also record any corrective actions that potentially I've tried or advised that organization or user to try. As I move on to the actual resolution, this could be, yeah, no problem at all. We managed to get it done because we've uploaded a patch to upgrade the new firmware. Or if it's a case where you want to go and check if there's any kind of technical solutions, you can record technical solutions in the system. And it takes some of the key aspects of what you're actually trying to find. If you can't find anything, you can basically search through the whole lot, and this will give you an expanded information in terms of any documentation or kind of advice in terms of what would need to happen to get that resolved. If it's a case where you can't find the resolution, what's going to happen is you may or may well have to dispatch that. Now, it may be that the parts information or some parts need to be sent through, and this is where we kind of add, if that technical solution says, yes, you have to dispatch this, but you also have to ship particular parts, you can basically enter the parts into here and create a parts order, and we'll come on to parts orders a bit later. And when you do create the parts order, you have your tracking tab, so this information comes back to give that call center or give that kind of department any kind of tracking information in terms of any updates from the courier, and also be able to kind of track existing communication to external parties or internal parties, and of course any particular kind of attachments. So this could be diagnostic reports, that kind of thing. Okay, if it's a case where it's been thought that the unit has to be kind of sent somewhere or dropped off somewhere for repair, what we can do is you get an option here which basically says dispatch. What that happens is it gives you whatever the actual location is of the owner, into the location of the actual service locations, to see which one is closest. So it then gives you a kind of a list of which ones are potentially could be selected for dispatch. Now, in this instance, there are mechanisms in here to say, well, only allow certain service locations to repair certain models. This is all taken into account when it comes up with the list. So as you kind of select the actual location that you want to do, I'm just going to close this window. But when you select the location that you want, what happens is you click on submit, and it will then create some form of service dispatch. Okay, so what you get is you get the screen refresh, say it's been dispatched, and what you then have is you then have this service order information at the top here. So it says I've created this service order, I've dispatched it to that location. In the actual service dispatch tab, as it comes up, you'll see it's the service order. This is the service order it's created to. It gives information in terms of the service center, what the actual status of that particular service order is at the dispatch time and when the last time of the service order was updated. So it keeps that call center or a department aligned to what's actually happened during that dispatch. Now, what you'll see is if I click on the actual link here, what this is going to do is this is going to take me into the actual service order that's created itself. So in here, here's the dispatch center that I've selected. This now appears as a not started job on the service locations landing page. So when they log in, they can see they've got certain service orders in there which have got to be worked on, which are kind of in the pipeline to be done. Okay, it passes the owner information. So if there's any information that's to be updated, it can be done in here. It gives you the kind of promised date, which you said you're going to give that particular unit when we can actually do the repair. Obviously, if there's a bit of distance that needs to be done, there needs to be a kind of discussion between the owner and the call center or the department to say when potentially we could actually do the repair, when it could be promised by. But this can be changed, okay? In here, we've got the ability to record alternate contact information. And if you notice down the bottom here, we've got this kind of owner details. So there's these details here which have been passed through. So what you can see is in the support request here, this is actually pointing back to the support request that was created. So it's giving you that kind of visibility backwards, okay? So I can get from, like Madhu says, because it's all under one umbrella, I can get from a support request, I can get to the service order, I can get to the claim, I can get to the RMA, all through clicks of buttons, through hyperlinks in the system. Now, as I kind of go through, what you'll see on here is you'll see that there's actually a task on here with a serial number, which I've kind of raised the problem on. It gives me a service request, and that is the identifier for this job. And if it's a case where the customer has got multiple problems with this job, they can do that. They can add the same serial number or different serial numbers as long as they belong to the same owner, but recording and repairing multiple problems. So one problem could be warranty, one problem could be a billable activity, and that can happen, okay? So as we go through, we've got different types. So in this instance, it's a new warranty, and the actual service request control gives us a status of, you know, how far along the process is. So if you've got multiple jobs in here, it basically means your technician can then say, I'm going to start this job, or I've not started it, or I've done it. So it gives a quick reference in terms of what's actually happened with each in particular job. If I look at the kind of the top section here, I've got what the actual type is. It's a new warranty. If there's more, there's going to be more listed here, okay? You've got the product serial number. So this is the serial number stamped on the back of the unit. You've got your causal part serial number. That could be if you have a part that caused that problem, and only potentially the service department might know this, okay? At the time they're doing the repair, it basically means you can capture the part and also capture the actual serial number which caused the problem. That can then be attached to, that is actually attached to what they call associated parts. So within each particular product serial number, I can have a listed causal part serial number. An example of that could be an alternator, could be a motor. It's not the actual physical unit, it's the complete unit, but with components inside it, an engine number, transmission number, a motor, you know, that kind of thing. So as we kind of go along, the problem here, at quick glances, is no power, okay? In here, I've actually got parts, labor, other charges, and what the total amount is, okay? Now for parts, this could be your replacement parts, serviceable parts. For labor, this is the cost or the amount of money that's basically going to be reimbursed back, in effect, reimbursement back to the service location, okay? So as the service location goes through and starts to replace items, what they can see is they can see how much they're going to get reimbursed based on whatever the actual warranty is assigned to him. You see this information here. This has got a 12-month warranty in it. I can click on here and I can see 12 months. This is when it expires. So it will, you can see it's in warranty. If you try and put something in here that's out of warranty, it will tell you, it will throw you an error, okay? And what you'll find is you'll see the color tabs, and this is throughout the system. So within support, within service, within claims, within supplier claims, Anywhere there's a tabular form and you see different colors or any kind of screen which has got an error message on it, it will emphasize the actual color and the severity. These severities can be changed or altered depending on your own configuration. There are some which have to remain because they're fundamental to the process, okay? But a lot of these rules can be adapted. So as we kind of go through, we'll see that go further down, I can record what the failure information is to what the actual causal part was. So this is the service location saying, this is basically what part that caused the problem. This here's your component code. And this component code tells you, in effect, what grouping, where that part basically sits. Again, these are configurable to your own organization's listings, okay? So as I come out, I can basically see it's basically this part is associated to the electrical group. This part can be assigned to more than one component code. Okay, so it could be, in fact, if you've got a certain set of screws, but you want to kind of say it's these causal parts in this location related to electrical, or it could be something regarding mechanical or whatever. It means you can record the different failures against the different component codes. Okay, so for reporting, that becomes very fundamental. And again, it becomes very making sure that your organization is set up in a way so that your organization can kind of record that correct information. All right. There's ability to have technicians in here, but for this demonstration purposes, I haven't done that. But you can set up your technicians so that you can see who's actually performed the work on that particular unit. In here, I've got my operator condition report. Again, this is my complaint course correction, which is again all configurable to as per the iParts. It's the same process throughout. Okay, so whatever you configure globally, it will appear in our service, it appears in our support, it appears in our claims, in eClaims. So it means you can see exactly the same thing as you go through the system. So there's commonality there. Okay. Bit of information in terms of the actual product serial information. You can hold thumbnails if you want to, if you have that ability in the system. We have it today where you can actually store a stock pic of the actual model itself, or if you want to actually have a picture of the physical unit, you can attach that to the unit as well. Okay. So as I kind of go through the kind of tabs and stuff, you see we add the parts. So these are consumable parts that have been used throughout the repair. You've got different types of parts. You have standard part, which is basically what's recorded in the system, or if you've got other parts which are defined, which you don't have any recollection of, or you don't stock or don't hold. In other words, third-party parts, you can record them and they have to put the price in manually. But for this instance, what I've got is I've got this kind of power unit. This is not a serialized part, so therefore I've just basically said it's replaced. If it was a serialized part, because you're storing your serial numbers at the associated part level, means that when you add something into here, and I'll just click on this quickly, it means you can actually state which serial number you've taken off to which serial number you've put it on, okay? And because this is not a serialized part, it's not going to show you that particular drop down, because it will give you the parts which are currently active on the unit today, okay? And this is built up in your history. And as Madhu said on one of the diagrams earlier, you have this kind of product hub where you can see which parts have been fitted and which parts have been removed in that kind of product configuration change, okay? So you can see that, and it gives you that history. So it's very, very helpful to see what's actually happened to that particular product. In this instance, you have your unit price of $196.99. This is your parts amount. There's only one. So in this case, taking the part, taking the actual policy, the reimbursement is applied, and this, what the actual service location is building, what they see on the screen is basically a building up of what they're going to claim back. Okay. As we go to labor, in terms of the actual labor itself, you can specify the labor to be open, or you can specify it for certain particular jobs. So in this instance, I've got a kind of 10U replacement PSU, which is basically 0.4 an hour. And in that, with the labor rate of being 73.50, they've got a reimbursement of 29.40 in terms of their parts. Sorry, in terms of their labor. Now, in this instance, I can, and it's filtered. You can see there's this gray, not gray, sorry, this purple button here. What that means is if you've got more than one job, okay, you can filter out by that specific job. So you can keep a track on, although he's got lots and lots of jobs happening at the same time, it means what you can do is you can filter that so it only shows you for that job. So it makes the screen cleaner, it gives the user a bit more control in what they see, as opposed to it being pages and pages of potential parts, okay, or labor. I can click on here and show all, but there's only one, so it doesn't really matter. So if I click on show, it just shows me everything for every single job. For other charges, your other charges, you're basically additional expenses. So these are things like kind of freight, any handling costs, miscellaneous, damage, roadside service, if you've got that, and paint, transportation, and just miscellaneous expenses which we could incur. And as you add these parts in here, dependent on parts, labor, and other charges, it could be that you've got more than one job, and you basically select the actual job. This is the job here, okay? If it's a warranty job, it'll be prefixed with W. If it's a billable job, it'll be prefixed with a C, okay, to say it's chargeable. In this instance, I can pick one of these. I can specify if there's any invoice number that's been done. So it could be that an expense has been done, which has to be then claimed back. You can put the invoice in, plus actually attach the invoice to the attachments in here, okay? As you kind of go through, this will be built up. You can check stock, request OC approval for this particular sublet, sorry, not stock, but request an OC approval. This basically means you have to have some form of approval before you're allowed to use this particular expense type. It's restricted from perhaps one, but this means there's an interface which goes out to your finance system for someone to check and review, and then it comes back and says, yep, here's my purchase order number. So when your financing information looks at the purchase order, it can tie it up. However, so in this kind of demonstration, let's cut me up. One second. There we go. Okay. So for this particular demonstration, what I've got is I haven't specified any particular what do you call it, expense type. So as we kind of go along, you see at the top of the actual top of the service order, you've got this kind of service order map. This is the total of everything which is in here. Okay, every single listed job which you basically have. If you have more than one, you can basically add more and it collapses. So it shows you one at a time. Okay, as I scroll down, and a lot of transactional information, you'll see this, you get this tab. So as you scroll down, you'll get this kind of little tab which comes down here, and it's color coded to the area that you're in. Okay. One thing you'll notice is that in this kind of versions here as well, that this is basically fixed. So it doesn't matter where I am on the screen, I can basically still look at the action bar, not have to scroll to the top or scroll to the bottom. To the right, I've got this little up arrow, and again, this is familiar with all the transactional screens that we have with potentially large output. It basically means you can kind of zip straight back up to the top to get you right back up to the top to see any error messages which will potentially come. Okay, in this particular job, I've noticed that the job hasn't started. So when the service location has the unit, they can basically either cancel it because it was never delivered, in effect. In this instance, I can say it's work in progress. So as we kind of go through, the whole service order is in work in progress, but I can also keep track of where I am in each individual job. And there is a setting in the system which basically says, okay, if I say this is ready out, which basically means it's all done, it will tell me that it's not started, but there's a setting in the system which says, if you don't want that to be kind of a manual forward, okay, a manual kind of uplift in effect, what you can do is you can basically set that setting, and this will be automatically upset to completed or move to completed status to then complete that particular job. If I just kind of go to labor, for example, just use 100. I'll take it, that's fine, that's okay. So in that instance, I can basically set that to completed, in effect to say it's been done. I can do save on ready out. Now, this actually gives me a last opportunity to kind of review. So ready out basically means it's ready to go to for claiming. So the service department has done its job. It's basically going through its final QA checks. And therefore, what's going to happen here now is when I set the status to completed, you then get for warranty, it will create a warranty claim. For a chargeable job, it will create an invoice. But if you've got multiple jobs, okay, so multiple problems on that particular unit, so you've got 3 issues, it will create 3 claims. And that claim will be specified or referenced down here in the actual claim number reference when it comes back. Now for quickness, I'm just going to click into here. So as you've come back, what will happen is you'll see in the system, what happens is when it creates the warranty claim comes in here. The service order is basically stamped here. The service request is stamped here. And what you see is you'll see everything in terms of the location, what's been requested, the claim types will be warranty. So if you've got different types of warranty, like for example, a campaign, an extended warranty. So this is where you've potentially got kind of a unit's been sold. So it's not brand new, it's been owned before, but pre-owned in effect. So you can have your kind of extended warranty, or it could be a natural progression of that unit from manufacturer warranty to extended warranty. Okay, so this is where you've got another element here to basically record that particular owner. Now just give me 1 second, I'm just being kicked off. Always happens, especially when you don't want it to happen. Okay, so so as we kind of go through, you'll see different information. So on the right-hand side, you'll see all the kind of the different requested amount and in terms of the adjusted amount. So the requested amount is, this is how much I've requested. And because a lot of these processes have already gone through the warranty adjudication process in terms of checking if it's in warranty, what the reimbursement rates are, this will be a smoother process now because you're not having to worry about whether there's going to be a shift in price and you then have to go back and explain that to your service locations. As you kind of come through here, you can add comments onto the actual claim itself. You'll see what the policy is. This is basically the coverage policy, the policy which contains the coverage, which is allowed the reimbursement. The failure information has been basically put into here. So when the actual failure date was, when the repair date was. The service parts, this is the part that actually called the causal part, which caused the problem, followed by your component code, and again your 3C information. So this defines what your failure information is basically being defined as. You'll notice that the actual information here is basically says ready to submit. Now, in this particular instance, if you have a service order and submit that service order straight through and there's no issue, what's going to happen is it will go straight to either approved status because it meets all the criteria. It will either go to a part return status, which this one might do in a minute because obviously there's a part return which I've had to set up, or it could be the fact that it will come back and go to pending status. What pending status means is it will say, I'm okay with this, but I found some issues with the claim. And in this instance, I've got blue underlines here. What this means is if the claim is to be submitted, it would have to be adjudicated because it's either finding that something's not covered or it's finding that the repair has been done within a specified amount of days. So it's trying, basically performing on that check, okay? Bear with me. As I kind of go through, I have my labor, so it's copy the labor in as well. And any other charges which basically would be from the service order would also be carried across. What you'll find here as well is you've got the address information and the kind of the customer information, which is basically here, and the payment information. So if this was an approved claim, this would basically start to fill up with more and more information to say, yep, it's been done, it's been paid. But we haven't reached that bit yet. However, when you go through and start the claim approval process, that's when it starts to backfill, okay? So in this instance, I'm now kind of ready to submit. Bear in mind, if it's come from a service order, it does mean that this might go straight through, okay? So as you go into submit, what happens is the claim will basically be processed. It goes to a pending state. So it's found something it doesn't like. Okay, so this will sit in the work queue. So anything which basically sits in the work queue, this will be directed to an adjudicator's work queue. And that adjudicator would then have to review what has happened, why it's been stopped. Okay, in this instance, the repair has been done within 180 days of failure. So if it's valid and they're okay with that, they can say, yep, fine, no problem, I'll go away and approve that. Or if it's a case where they're not and say, well, hang on a minute, what's happened here? They can go back to the repair location and start to question why the repairs come through again, and maybe get some more information from there. You can say corrections needed, so it will pass it back to the service location if required. They can reject it through to say, well, no, I don't think we should pay for this. And also you can basically set to approved. Now, at this point, what you'll see is that the actual process is identified as an RMA. So it says, well, hang on a minute, I've got a part here as well, which needs to be returned, because you're doing it through an audit process, or you're actually doing it through some form of arrangement that you've got with a dealer or repair location. Excuse me. So I'll go down, yeah, I'm okay with that, no problem. So on principle, and I'll actually just mention that one more thing. One of the things here mentioned about the component supplier, the causal part, this is the supplier, and this is the thing that Madhu mentioned earlier on. This is the supplier that is basically providing the part. And as a result, the supplier will actually get a supplier claim, okay? So as I go through and do the approval, what happens is the part of this claim is going to go to a part return status. Now, what you can see here is the part return status. It says, yep, I approve it in principle, but I need the part back first, okay? I will pay you the part back once I've assessed the actual part. Now, the RMA, and I kind of rewind back a little bit, when it creates the RMA, an RMA will be created, and an RMA will be placed onto the dealer or repairer's service location's work queue. That is their instruction to say, you've submitted this claim, you need to send this part back. So if I go into the actual RMA itself, okay, what it's asking for is, this is my claim number, this is the service order number it relates to, this is the serial number, the VIN number, the product serial number that relates to. In this particular element, you've got this element here, you've got this, what we call RR reference. This RR reference is basically your return reference number. This is what's caught the part to be returned. That's basically stopping the claim from being fully approved, okay? As we kind of go down, you'll see you've got the part number. So it's basically saying you need to return one of these. And this is the kind of start location. So this is the repair location's address. This is where you've got to send it back to. This is the carrier that's basically been set on this RR reference. It can be changed. That's okay. But what the owner or the actual repair location would do is would then take those parts, bag them up, chuck them in the box and send them. They would then set the shipment date to whenever they've actually done the shipment. And if you want to put some kind of tracking number on there, they can. And if they're hooked up to someone like UPS, they can actually go into the UPS website, and that tracking number will go with this return RMA. And then anybody who's got access to the system in this RMA can actually then go into the actual reference number on the website to see where it is through the process. So they can add tracking. You can print a return slip. So if I click on this button here, this will give me a PDF output, which the service location can basically output, print it, stick it in a box. So I don't even have to write anything on it. They can just basically chuck that in there as well, and off they go. Okay. So as we've got this, I can add print shipping label if I want to print one. I'll put one in, just put some information here. I'm not going to worry about that, but when you do click on print, it will come up with a kind of label up here with like a PDF, and you can print it and then stick it in a bag, and a clear bag, and stick it on top of the actual unit of the parcel itself to give to the to UPS. So as I click on save on here, remember this is the actual service location or repair location. Once they've done this and clicked on the status on a ready state, I can click on submit. What that does is that gives indication that as a repair location, it's now with the courier. Okay, so the courier has now got this box. When the box actually finally does come in, the warehouse location guys or the girls and guys will pick those up and say, okay, I've received this box. they've got this number because it's on the packing slip, in effect, inside the box. They can see, if they go into here, they can see, okay, well, this is where it's come from. This is the vehicle shipment date, that's fine. They can basically check on, say, yep, I've got this box, this is when it was received, and they can add some inspection elements in here. So they can add some comments on here to say, you know, what if the box was knackered or the box was really busted, for example. They can add some comments into here. Now, in this instance, I'm just going to say, yeah, I've received it, no problem. So I'm going to click on that there, and I'm going to click on basically to say, change the status up here. So you can either say it's lost in transit, partially received. In other words, you said you're going to get 3 in the box, but you've only got 2. But in this instance, I've received it. I've got it, clicked on save. Now, what that basically means now is I've now got the option in here to basically approve the claim. There is an option in the system which allows you to have a what they call a package of returns, RMAs, into one shipment. And you can then go through and approve that as one big bulk. But for this instance, I'm going to do it individually. So I can go into the claim now. I can see it's been returned. If I look at the parts here, for example, I can see my icon now. And I should have mentioned this before. These icons change as the statuses progress, okay? You'll see it's been received now, so that's absolutely fine. I can go and check as the adjudicator what the information is here, and I can then say, yeah, no problem at all, everything's good. I can click on save and approve that particular claim. So that means that that's the instruction to say, yes, I'm now going to pay the submitting location. That gets then forwarded to your finance system. As you can see, in this particular instance, there's a supplier policy. So therefore, you want to try and claim money back from your supplier. So therefore, it's created a supplier claim in the system. So I can click on here. And now I can see that the supplier has been created. Now you see a difference in the actual requested amount to what the actual claim amount is. And that's because under this particular supplier agreement, there's lots of supplier agreements in the system. Okay. And this particular supplier agreements in terms of the click on go, I'm going to do recovery agreement. I can set up lots and lots of different agreements here with your suppliers, and I can basically say, okay, this is as a result. So it might be for certain part number, it might be for certain models, it might be a case where you only want certain things to be kind of done. So it might be a case of only those ones which have got a build day between this and this. So there's a few options in here which you can counteract to in effect not generate the supply claim, but only generate supply claims in specific instances. If I look slightly downward, I've got here recovery pay rate. This is basically saying the supplier will only cover 100% of the reimbursement at the supplier price, not the dealer price, which is why you see a $65 amendment. If I click on here, this is my recently viewed. I can get straight back into here, and I can then create or go into the supplier claim. I can submit it individually, or I can submit the actual supplier a package or auto package. So every month what would happen is your suppliers would get an extract from you to say, these are all the claims that I have. And then supply claim packages. These are all the agreements I basically have, or the packages I have. And in there, I could have multiple packages. So for example, I've got 3 in here, and you see, just pick on one, I guess. Yeah, on here, this one's been already processed. So you'll see the supplier, the package code, and these can be auto-packaged. So it doesn't have to be manual, you can auto-package them. And then what happens is, in this particular package, before it's submitted to the supplier, you've got your original requested amount, the amount that has basically been approved from the supplier, and your outstanding amount if you actually perform some negotiation. Okay, so this is all kind of going around in terms of what you would negotiate with the supplier. Obviously, if you've got a recovery contract, the supplier is more likely going to kind of pay you what's there. However, it gives you room for maneuver, okay, to actually kind of come to an agreement if there's an arrangement or agreement between yourself and the supplier. There's a lot to cover, and I know I went a little bit quick, but that's basically the kind of going from end to end. And of course, the back of this is you've got your kind of analytics, and all this is, as Madhu said, is basically packaged up and sent into the data warehouse, so the stats and stuff can be basically taken. And as you kind of look at the stats and the actual analytics itself, because it's all under one umbrella, every single one of these modules can have stats against them, or have reports associated to them, or be added into the warehouse so that reports can be generated. Okay. So apologies I went super quick, and there's probably lots of questions on this, but we can deep dive if anybody wants to later on. Madhu, did you want to cover parts orders, or do you want me to just kind of explain a little bit here? You're on mute, but I'll continue with this.
No, we can take a few questions. I'm not going to take control to cover I parts. Maybe I'm going to do when I'm going to do the warehouse and the ThingWorks.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't have any questions in the queue, but we are almost out of time. We can always, get questions. You guys can email me if something comes up after the fact, and I can, route them to Madhu or John or whoever is the best person on our technical team to get those questions answered. But there are no questions at this time. So I don't know if you have a few more minutes, or if we wanted to go ahead and end here. It's up to you, John and Madhu.
Madhu, do you want me to cover parts orders quickly, or? So I'll cover it. So parts orders basically throughout the whole process, as Madhu indicated earlier. If I'm creating a service order, if I'm creating a support request, if I'm creating a claim, I can create, for example, if there is a part which is which the service location or repair location doesn't have, what means is that you can at any point you can tick the tick box, and you can then say, right, okay, I want to order a part. It takes the information from either the service location or whatever, or whatever's been put onto the screen, and then from there I can then create the parts order. But you can create as well manual parts orders. Okay, so here I've got a kind of whatever the basis is on, so it could be in fact it's an order or a quote. I could put a PO number in here. And I can also say whether we complete the ship complete order. So if parts are on back order, do I send everything out and keep the dispatch to minimum, or do I just pass them out as the parts come in if they're on back order? So the information here is who's actually placing the order. You've then got your parts and what parts you want to kind of place. So as you kind of click on here, click the parts order, I can maybe click on PSU, for example. I can take one of those. I can then click on, if I wanted to upload them via CSV, I could. The shipping information is basically where it's going to be shipped to. So it could be a shipping method. I'm just going to do kind of truck. You can specify whether you want a new drop ship. So this is a different customer address if you wanted to. We'll keep it as the kind of location here. Any payment information, which is basically related to whether it's on account or whether it's kind of another payment, for example, a credit card. Any attachments if necessary. And then, yeah, so once you've kind of done that, you basically do submit. The review order comes up, says, yeah, no problem. I can basically click on place order. What will happen now is that the order is now placed. That order request will go to your fulfillment system, and that will then control when the part has been, send the actual request to your parts and warehouse system, and then instruct the parts to be kind of issued out to the service location. And as you kind of go through the part tracking tab, for example, as information comes from the courier or comes from your dispatcher system or the warehouse system, it can take updates to basically say whether the part, what's been shipped and how many's been shipped and when it was shipped. Okay, so a bit of information on here on terms of what's going on. So for parts. So again, it's not a warehouse management system. It's basically a request to fulfillment to fulfill those particular parts orders from your warehouse management system. I apologize, it's very fast.
Okay. Well, thanks, John. Thanks, Madhu. I think we're out of time, but this will be recorded and I'll send in an email as soon as it's posted online. And then if you guys need to, look at it again, it'll be there or you can forward it to a colleague. But thanks everyone for your time and I hope you found this helpful and best wishes to all of you.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Best wishes all. Thanks for joining. Speak soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.